That was infuriating. That was
Yeah.
infuriating. Like, I mean, let's just get like the obvious out of the way before going into that game. To stop ourselves from hurting by kind of constantly bashing our fucking heads up against the expectation wall. We are a bang average team. We have a squad that is not good enough to compete in the top 10 of the Premier League. Kane does not want to be there. The only highlights in his game are in his fucking hair.
Yes, exactly.
All right? This club is run by a mentally ill fucking psychopath Bond villain who probably enjoys skinning cats instead of just buying a Sphinx. Right? And
You are doing the comedy. I love it.
This isn't comedy.
It
This
is.
the truth, man. But he views the club as a fucking money laundering scheme. Like,
Yes.
that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
So right now, we have like 60,000 odd fans. We have people who are paying over £1,000 for a season ticket. These fans are just being fucking robbed. Yeah. Like, you could say, well, no, like, but fans make the choice of buying tickets. No. People bought their tickets when they were announcing that Conte and potentially Poch was coming back. Conte took one fucking look at that squad and said, this team cannot compete. You have to pay me an excessive amount of money or promise me players are going to come, but this team can't compete. And they knew that, and we moved into there was players all over the place that wanted to come. There was players sitting in airports waiting with their fucking underwear being washed in a kitchen sink somewhere, begging to just get the fucking deals over the line. Arsenal fans are singing Super Tomiyasu because the kid's a fucking good player. We were struggling for a right back and we didn't get that guy over the line. Like, so this is what I'm saying. I viewed it as a deliberate. We had players like Kavicha who were like 10 million. We had the player who was like one of the top scorers in Italy. What was his name? Sim or something like that. Who was like who was available for 3 million. We could have got him in. Like, there was strikers who were doing incredibly well all over the planet who were dying to come to Spurs, and we deliberately didn't get them in. This was a concerted effort to keep Spurs fucking bang average, and yet rip off all those people. Going, it's daylight fucking robbery.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go on to the game now. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Like, once we understand what's actually being done at this club, then we can kind of like look at this stuff and kind of manage your expectations. Because sitting there watching a game like that, 100%, it didn't matter how bad Man United played. If we went 1-0 down with as defensive a formation that they came out with, if we went 1-0 down, it was game over. We have no way of coming back from a 1-0 deficit. We're just not the team that can do that. Never mind that, the only fucking guy who's like running, who seems to be kind of like, who has a bit in his game, is Lucas Moura. And then he takes him off for the one fucking guy who cannot complete a pass. Like, what is that? Kane is out of the game. Just take him off, and then have Bergwijn, Lucas, and Son through the center.
Yeah.
Back to the Man City fast formation.
Yeah.
Give that a go.
Give it a go.
He's scared to take Kane off.
He's scared, man. He's scared to do it.
It's so frustrating. So, but the crazy thing about like fans wanting a Spurs DNA and stuff as well is that a DNA is brought into a club by a manager. That's who gives you a DNA. Like, we had the Spurs way, the Spurs DNA, but that Poch brought. That was Poch's system that he built. It took him time to build that. You can't bring in your 9th choice manager who's a mid-table fucking manager who doesn't really, who's like who had a pretty good squad. If you look at it post-mortem, pretty fantastic squad at Wolves. Arguably, in areas, probably a better squad than Spurs in areas. And he's come here, our 9th choice, and we're expecting that guy who has a kind of defensive way of playing We're expecting him to come in and bring his style that he's used to, like Neto bang up the wings. He's used to Traore. He's used to that type of stuff, and he's going to bring that in and plop that system on Spurs with a striker who's burned out, who's like completely on the downhill. It's like, where do we expect's going to happen? He doesn't have the system that works for Harry Kane, and yet he's forced to play Harry Kane every week. There's no way he can bring a good DNA to Spurs. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like insane for fans to expect a DNA to happen. Like, obviously that was just a sales pitch from that fucking weirdo psychopath who's probably dancing around in his grandma's fucking old tights right now. I'm not trying.
I love
to be
you,
funny,
Brains. I have to say,
angry.
you are brilliant. You are brilliant.
It's so infuriating, though. You know, it's like.
Do you want to talk about? Do you want to actually touch upon the in-game management or not?
Do we have to? I mean, what in-game management?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's the incredible thing is that we're waiting for him for so long and so many games in a row. We're like, where's this guy? Where's the subs? Do something. And then he does it in this one. Oh, well, I better act early. 55 minutes. Bring the worst fucking forward player in the team. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't. At that point, I was so angry because so if you go to like the Burnley game, we looked the same first half, and that was coming off of West Ham not getting a shot on goal. So it was like these two halves of just dreadful performance. A Vitesse game where we struggled as hell there, and then it was Lucas Moura that came off the bench and broke that. The lads, Sim and Ben were talking about the fact that we're not getting enough crosses in the last game. That wasn't true. That simply wasn't true. In the last game, there was 4. It's not a lot, but there was 4 perfect crosses. I'm not saying that there was also shitty crosses, but there was 4 perfect crosses in the last game. Perfect for a centre forward. Harry Kane wasn't there for 3 of them. The 4th one, Lucas Moura scored. Lucas Moura is saving this team. He came in and saved that game. We beat a depleted Burnley, who didn't have their 2 best players on the pitch. He didn't have like a full squad playing. They dumbed it down for that shitty competition. We put our fucking best string players on, and then Lucas has to come on and save the game. So what makes him think at 55 minutes pull Lucas off?
Exactly. I was so angry. Brains, you know me, man. I was so angry about that. It just made no sense whatsoever. He's the only one playing with heart, that guy.
Yeah, at least he tries. Even if he's playing bad, at least he tries.
Yeah.
You know, you watch Kane for a whole performance, and it's like he's just nowhere. He's got nothing in his heart for this yet. Like left, there's nothing left. So why are we trying to you know what it's like when you're running and your heart's broken? Like, you ever been broke up and then went and gone and tried to play football with your mates? You've got nothing. All you're thinking about is how sore you are. So how is his legs going to be able to take the lactic acid builds up when you how are the legs going to take that if you're running on complete empty going, I don't want to be here. And I'm going to give these half-assed performances. I know these people love me in the crowd. I don't want to just come out and say, because you're not allowed to, you know, oh God, kill him.
Do you think the fact that Kane's not playing well is the clearest sign that he realises and represents the problem at Spurs? So almost he gave up a lot earlier than,
100%.
The reason he's the way he is, because he knows how deep the problem is. So he's almost a sign to us, the fans that don't see what's going on behind the scenes, that there is a major problem at this club with lack of talent, quality, and management. And I look at it that way as well. He's the clearest sign of what's really happening behind Tottenham. That's why he wants out. And I don't think we should hammer Kane too hard, because he's the one that's saying, look, it's pretty crap here, guys. There's nothing happening at this club. We're going in
But the thing is, if we were all speaking on a kind of realist tip like that and understood, you know, if we were going, this is actually the situation, and then at that point, because I love Kane and it breaks my fucking soul apart to see him.
Everyone does.
Yeah, it breaks our hearts to see him playing like this. But there is no way. This is not just a bad run of form. We've seen him in a bad run of form, but he still has like 4 or 5 games, and you're like, oh, that was a bit odd. But again, he breaks the duck and he carries on. This isn't that. We're seeing it. We talked about it. John talked about it like towards the end of last season, and one of those kind of cool like debate things. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he's already like this. He might have had his best season, but then you had Bale and Son, and there was a little bit of you didn't have to do it all, you know. Like, there was a little thing like this.
I think with Kane as well, in All or Nothing, he said to Jose, "Look, I am now at the point in my career
It has
where
to
I
happen
want to
now.
be the best thing.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Right? My talent deserves to be on show
Yeah.
at the highest level." And he gave Jose his last season, and boy, did he give it his
Yeah,
all.
but Brains is right though. At the second half of last season, you could see it was going down. You
That's
could
probably
see it.
fatigue as well as
Yeah.
we dropped off as a team.
Yeah,
we
and Sonny dropped
with-
off a bit as well, and then
Yeah.
the whole partnership wasn't working as
Yeah.
well. But it isn't just this season. I've been seeing actually for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
He did put in a good first half of last season, which surprised me. But
Yeah.
if you notice, since 2017, his athleticism has
The
been
thing
dropping
is, you
a
could
lot.
question his professionalism in terms of obviously not turning up first day
Yeah.
of training, completely out of order.
Yeah.
Not giving it 100% on the pitch, completely out of order. But
Yeah.
behind that is a mental, almost soulful person that's
still-
lost his heart
He's lost
in
his
the
heart.
club
He's lost his
because
heart.
of all the problems
Yeah.
and the
And
poison
he's
behind the
caught
scenes.
he's caught between that professionalism. He's caught
Of
between
course,
that
he's a human
like
being.
like I can't be honest here. It's like fans are kind of crazy sometimes. It's like if you looked at your own life and your own family situation, your own job, like you bite your tongue a lot. You don't go into your job and tell your
But
boss,
you know what, Brains?
fuck
I'll
you.
ask you this. Nuno sees everything that happens behind the scenes, and he can obviously see Kane's not interested on the pitch and probably off the pitch. How much responsibility do we put on Nuno's doorstep for starting Kane again and again and again, not subbing him off? Or is it fear of the board? I mean, where do you sit on that one?
But it's also a case of like, what else do you do? Do you say like Kane was having a bad 4 games and he drops him, and results go the same way? Then everyone's going, you dropped a guy who's averaging 30 goals a
shouldn't you
season?
start players that want to be at the club at least for the next couple of years, let alone 3 months or whatever he wants to be and be off? He'd take the first opportunity to be off, from what I can see. Do you think Nuno's being too nice to Kane, or is he being...
I genuinely think it's like looking at the team and going, we don't have anything. But I would argue that we probably do if you tried a different formation, and then he probably has to have the balls
But what
to do
example is Nuno setting? Because if you start Kane again now against Everton away, what example is that set to the rest of the team in terms of basically a player that's down tools?
But that's what it is. I mean, like as soon as we didn't sell Kane, that was it. It was over. For me, the season was over. That was your chance to rebuild. And then there was all these players we could have got in. We could have built something. We could at least, even if we were on this run and we had bought all these players, we'd all be going, yeah, well, it takes time. There's 7-8 new players. It takes time. But no, we didn't. And so we've got senior players who can't fucking pass a ball. We've got senior players who can't hit the target. What's happened to Delhi? What's happened? But what you're saying is correct, that this isn't just a Kane thing. This is just Kane is just the highlight of how rotten it's become there. Players do not want to be there. Delhi doesn't want to be there. All the way through the team, you find. I feel bad for Romero. I can't imagine that Romero would possibly want to stay next season. I feel bad for him coming in. Knowing the quality he's got, he wins the ball near the halfway line in such an amazing tackle tonight. He puts the ball through to Gio. It's one more pass and it should be an easy goal, and we mess it up. He put his hand up the guy and he turned around, and that for me was like, like how long is it going to be before that guy goes, what mistake did I make?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we don't only just play Kane and we know he's shit. We play Dyer and we know his shit. We do these things. He makes these insane judgments. And we've all talked about it for ages. Like, how does this guy Dyer keep getting into the team? But then you go, but who else has he got? And it's the same everywhere. It's like, same thing, who else have we got? We've just got a shit squad.
Yeah.
Brains, I could talk to you all night, mate. You make me feel better, even in the dark times, I have to say. Absolutely hilarious.
You're a sick man if I could make you feel better.
No, you do, mate. You do. You're absolutely hilarious. But no, great insights, mate, as always. And we're all kind of feeling the same sort of thing. And you really put an exclamation mark on all of that. But must move on. Brains, thank you so much, mate. And please come on the next one. Cheer us up.
No worries, guys. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Brains McLeod. See you later, mate.
Take care.